What if the closer Toronto fans are ready to replace is actually the most psychologically burdened pitcher in baseball right now, and nobody is talking about it? Jeff Hoffman stepped into 2026 carrying something no stat line can measure: the memory of Miguel Rojas, 2 outs from a championship, and one 3-2 slider that changed everything. So when things get shaky in the 9th inning, Jays Nation doesn't see a rough patch. They see Game 7 all over again. That's the real story here, and it deserves a deeper conversation than what you've been reading on social media. Hello, Jays Nation. Welcome to Jays Quick News, your go-to spot for the latest Toronto Blue Jays updates. Tonight, we are putting closer Jeff Hoffman under the real microscope, because after Tuesday's blown save against the Brewers, this fan base is completely divided. Is this a legitimate 9th inning crisis, or is Toronto turning on an elite pitcher because of ghosts that belong to last October? Hit that subscribe button right now if you haven't already. We break down every angle of Blue Jays baseball every single day, and you do not want to miss a thing. Let's go back to Tuesday night at Rogers Center. Toronto held a 5-4 lead heading into the 9th against the Milwaukee Brewers. Hoffman stepped on the mound and had nothing. No command, no stuff, no rhythm from the very first pitch. He recorded just 2 outs, walked 3 batters, gave up 2 earned runs on 2 hits, and struck out only 1 in 2/3 of an inning. Manager John Schneider pulled him with the bases loaded and turned to Louis Varland, who needed just 3 pitches to retire Joey Ortiz and end the threat. Varland returned in the 10th after Toronto scored 3 runs, and the Blue Jays survived 9-7. After the game, Hoffman did not hide. He stepped in front of the cameras and said it plainly. No command, no stuff, just a battle from the first pitch, and the game could easily have ended right there in the 9th. For a closer earning $11 million a year, carrying the weight of a lost World Series on his shoulders, and now staring at 3 blown saves before mid-April. That kind of unfiltered accountability means something. He is not spiraling mentally. He is looking the problem directly in the eye. Now let's look beneath the surface, because this is where the story changes completely. Through his first 7 appearances in 2026 before Tuesday's outing, Hoffman had struck out close to 48.4% of the batters he faced. That put him just 1 punch-out behind Mason Miller of the San Diego Padres for the Major League strikeout lead among relievers. And Miller is widely regarded right now as the best closer in baseball. 1 strikeout shy of the gold standard, and almost nobody is talking about it. There is also a mechanical dimension to this story that most fans have completely missed. Hoffman deliberately lowered his arm angle by nearly 7 degrees entering 2026, now averaging 30.5 degrees, the lowest of his career since tracking began. The result is sharper movement on a slider that already posted a 47.4% whiff rate last season. His FIP heading into Tuesday sat well below his ERA, confirming that bad luck and defensive miscues, not his actual stuff, have been inflating the damage. Tuesday was real. But Tuesday was also 1 appearance out of 10, the exception, not the pattern. Here is the piece of this conversation that almost no one is touching, and it is enormous. Last postseason, Hoffman pitched 12.1 innings across 10 appearances with a 1.46 ERA, a 0.81 WHIP, and 18 strikeouts. That ERA stands as the 2nd lowest single postseason mark in Blue Jays franchise history, with at least 40 batters faced, trailing only Jimmy Key's legendary 0.75 from 1992. He was the arm that carried Toronto to Game 7 of the World Series. And then it happened. Miguel Rojas, who had not registered a hit in over a month, turned a 3-2 slider into the first game-tying home run in the 9th inning or later of a World Series Game 7 in baseball history. Toronto had a 91.7% win probability before that swing. think about that number. Hoffman was not pitching poorly in that moment. He was pitching in the top 1% of outcomes and still lost. He was one pitch away from being the postseason hero, not the villain. That is the psychological context nobody is talking about in 2026. Every shaky ninth inning this season is being processed through that Game 7 lens, by the fans, by the media, maybe even by Hoffman himself. The question nobody is asking, but should be, is Jays Nation judging a historically dominant postseason closer through the single most improbable pitch of his career? And does that even make sense? So what comes next? Schneider has publicly declared full confidence in Hoffman as the closer, and that declaration matters when outside pressure is at its loudest. Tyler Rogers, the submarine specialist, signed to a 3-year, $37 million deal this offseason, adds genuine depth at the back end, but his low-velocity, ground ball profile was never built for the traditional ninth inning in today's game. And Varland, as electric as he has been, a 0.00 ERA and 9 strikeouts through his early 2026 appearances, backed by a fastball that sits at 98.1 miles per hour and can touch 99 or better, creates his greatest value precisely because he is not fixed to a single inning. The flexibility is the weapon. Plug him into a closer role, and you fundamentally change how this bullpen operates. Here is the insight worth chewing on. The Blue Jays may actually have the most dangerous closer combination in the AL right now. They just need Hoffman to stop walking batters. One historically unlucky World Series pitch and one genuinely bad Tuesday night do not define what Jeff Hoffman is as a pitcher. The data, the postseason resume, and the mechanical rebuild all point in the same direction. But here is the real question, Jays Nation, and there is no clean answer. Should the psychological weight of Game 7 factor into whether a pitcher keeps his job? Is Schneider right to trust the numbers over the narrative? Or is this fan base actually seeing something the stats aren't catching yet? Drop your take in the comments right now. This is one of the most important debates of the Blue Jays 2026 season. Smash that like button, subscribe to Jays Quick News for daily Blue Jays coverage, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a video. We'll see you next time. Let's go Jays!